Hey guys, real quick, been doing a lot of stuff on segmentation, lower body rotation, upper body rotation, the mechanics of the hip rotation mechanics of the hip rotation mechanics, the hip rotation mechanics in comparison to the trunk rotation mechanics, and creating authentic separation through segmentation, right? So segmenting the lower body, right? So we know that hip rotation mechanics, we initiate hip rotation earlier than we do trunk rotation. This creates stretch, this creates separation. A lot of individuals struggle with the sensation, the feeling of creating this stretch, creating this separation. If you had like a back view, when I do my analysis clients, I usually look for the center field view to see if there's any disassociation between the rear hip and the throwing shoulder. Right? So high power output dudes, you're going to see their ability to create a lot of separation, it's hip shoulder separation, from the throwing shoulder and the rear hip, right? They create a lot of that separation at the authentic timing in which we anchor down with the front foot. A lot of individuals that struggle with segmentation create segmentation for the most part, but they start to release their trunk rotation, or they start to rotate their trunk before they actually anchor down. A lot of this has to do with, the slope and the timing difference between, guys that throw potentially a lot of flat ground, get used to that timing, and then they get on a slope and they have more time for their front foot to anchor down. So then things just start to initiate early. But for this specific drill, I think I've done this before, but I don't know if I've done it as in depth before, where we can get a dowel, I got a stick mobility here, just to create some feedback, just to create a feeling and a sensation for athletes to understand what it is like to create segmentation, to create authentic separation. So I'm a big fan of getting guys into preset positions in which we can already get into hip rotation. All right, so we just replicate that 45-degree angle, if you will. So you can see my rear hip bone is right here. I'm going to have this kind of tactile feedback with the stick to create that separation, play around with it, explore that. And then what you can start doing is that launch from stretch drill that I have with this to feel your trunk be neutral and then anchor down and rotate. What this can also help with is getting your throwing shoulder in front of your glove side shoulder, late launch shoulder extension, right? So play around with that sensation of creating authentic separation through segmentation. You'll find that probably a lot of people will struggle with, that restriction of T-spine, which is just their body protecting against that limited and restricted amount of thoracic spine mobility. So get into it, separation, and then you can just play around with a little bit of tilt back and throw. For me, when it comes to any drill progressions, especially when we're trying to emphasize a specific, dynamic or component of the pitch mechanics, for me it's always about all right, first we got to do dry reps. We got to do dry reps because for a lot of individuals, when we're really emphasizing an area, they haven't been accomplishing the right movement that we want, so they have no idea what the efficient movement is, and we need to make sure that their brain is highlighting that efficient movement. So then once we start to proceed with more clubs or rackets, plyo balls, med balls, whatever, then we can tease in the right movement with throwing. So hopefully that makes sense. Try that out. You can use, get creative, whatever, dowel, stick, PVC pipe, just to create the feeling of what the separation feels like, authentic, and then tease in some more movement of lifting that front foot and then initiating your trunk rotation, pulling your trunk through as you anchor down and not any time before that. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Talk to you guys next time.